Good evening, and welcome to Springfield Career Insights. Tonight, we confront a truth that society often avoids: the reality that some men live in homes where they feel controlled, monitored, or emotionally suffocated. Is the home a sanctuary of peace, or has it quietly become a prison for men who are faithful, hardworking, and trying to build stability? We explore how insecurity, suspicion, and emotional pressure can turn marriage into captivity. In this episode, we ask, why do we ignore the suffering of men in their own homes? Should domestic harm against men remain a private shame, or is it a civic crisis that demands national attention? We are joined by His Excellency Dr. Godfrey Gandao, President of Springfield Research University, civic theorist, and architect of Education 6.0. His work reframes the home as a constitutional space where dignity must be protected, not violated. Welcome, President. We are honored to host you.
Thank you, Dr. Advocate. At Springfield, we believe that the home is the first institution of the nation. And when a man is emotionally imprisoned in his own house, the family weakens, the children suffer, and society absorbs the damage. Naming this crisis is not an attack on women. It is a call to restore dignity, balance, and peace in the home.
Thank you, Professor. Why do we rarely acknowledge that some men live in homes where they feel controlled, monitored, or emotionally suffocated?
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, because we have built a world where a man's suffering must wear camouflage. We rarely acknowledge these homes of quiet captivity because society has written a script where a man must always be the fortress and never the prison, where he must be the storm breaker and never the one drowning, where he must be the shield even when the arrows are coming from inside his own house. Men are taught early, enjoy, absorb, do not speak, do not brag. So when a man is monitored, controlled, belittled, or emotionally suffocated, he does not call it abuse, you see? He calls it duty. He does not call it fear. He calls it keeping the peace. He does not call it pain. He calls it being a man. And the world applauds his silence. We laugh at his wounds. We mock his vulnerability. We dismiss his stories as weakness or exaggeration. We tell him that a man cannot be a victim in his own home. You see? So he retreats into himself. He becomes a ghost in his own life. He learns to breathe quietly so no one hears the cracking inside his chest. So we rarely acknowledge these men because acknowledging them forces us to confront a truth we are not ready for. You understand? That patriarchy does not only wound women, it also cages men. That strength can become a prison. That silence can become a sentence. And that behind many closed doors, they are men living under a soft tyranny. A tyranny without Bruce's advocate, without police reports, without sympathy, but with devastating emotional weight. So, I'm thinking your episode is their unmasking, their unveiling, their long delayed recognition. Because the truth is simple, advocate. Some men are not living in homes. They are serving time in them.
Thank you, Professor. What does a prison home look like for a man who is trying to be responsible, faithful, and hardworking?
Thank you, Doctor. So, a prison home, as you said, for a responsible, faithful, and hardworking man does not look like a jail cell. You see? It looks like a place where his soul serves a sentence while his body pays the bills. It is a home where he wakes up every morning determined to do right, to provide, to protect, to build. Yet every step he takes feels monitored, measured, and mistrusted. A prison home, advocate, is not loud. It is quiet cruelty. It is the silence after he speaks, the sigh after he tries, the eye roll after he explains. The cold shoulder after he apologizes for things he did not do. Goshomwe, I always say BVD. It is a place where his phone must always be face up. His friendships must be justified. His movements must be accounted for. His dreams must be negotiated. His peace must be earned. So a prison home, doctor, is where a man becomes a suspect in his own marriage, cross-examined for every delay, interrogated for every message, punished for every misunderstanding. It is where he learns to shrink himself, to speak softly, to walk carefully, to breathe strategically, because one wrong turn can trigger a storm. It is where he works twice as hard outside, only to come home and feel half as valued inside. It is where he gives love in full and receives affection in installments. It is where he is faithful but treated like a liability, where he is responsible advocate but treated like a child, where he is hardworking but treated like he is never enough. A prison home is not defined by walls. You see? It is defined by emotional captivity. A man in such a home is not living. He is serving time in a sentence no court ever issued for a crime he never committed, under a punishment no one else can see. And the tragedy is this, advocate. He stays because he loves. He endures because he hopes. He suffers because he believes families should not break. That is the anatomy of a prison home. A place where a good man slowly disappears while trying to hold everything together.
Thank you, Professor. How does constant suspicion, where are you, who are you with, slowly destroy trust in marriage?
Okay, doctor, thank you. Constant suspicion is not a question, is it? It is a slow poison, a quiet erosion, a daily dismantling of the sacred architecture that holds a marriage together. When a man hears again and again. Where are you? Who are you with? Why didn't you answer? What took you long? It does something to him. Is it? Not all at once. No. So suspicion is patient. You see? It destroys in teaspoons, not buckets. At first, he explains. You see? Then he over-explains. Then he anticipates. You see? Then he apologizes for things he hasn't done. Then he begins to live defensively now. Not lovingly, defensively. And that is the moment trust dies. Because trust is not killed by betrayal alone. Trust is also killed by accusations without evidence. Is it? By fear disguised as vigilance. By love replaced with surveillance. So suspicion turns a husband into a what? Into a defendant. You see? A home into a what? A courtroom. A marriage into a perpetual cross-examination. And slowly, quietly, and tragically, advocate, he stops sharing. He stops opening up. He stops being himself. He stops feeling safe. Because nothing destroys intimacy faster than the feeling of being constantly doubted. Because suspicion says, I do not believe you. I do not trust you. I do not see your integrity. And a man who is not believed eventually becomes a man who stops trying to be understood. That is how suspicion kills a marriage. Not with a blow, but with a drip. Not with a storm, but with a slow, relentless leak that empties a heart drop by drop until there is nothing left to hold the home together.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to a song called The Family You Blessed Us With.
You didn't give us riches first. You gave us each other. Not palaces or crowns of gold, but a father, a mother, a sister, a brother. You planted love in sacred soil and called it family, not toil. The family you blessed us with is more than blood, it's covenant bread. You wrote our names in one embrace and sealed our home with sovereign grace. We rise together, we kneel as one, a family formed beneath your sun. Through trials, through joy, through silent years, you held us close, you dried our tears. No bond on earth compares to this. The family you gave, the love we miss. Our family is your blessing. We thank you, Lord, for your love.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. Why do some wives assume cheating even when a man is simply at work, in a meeting, or driving?
Thank you, Advocate. So some wives assume cheating even when a man is simply working, driving, or you say sitting in a meeting. Because suspicion is not born in the moment, you see. It is born in the mindset. You see? Suspicion is not about where the man is. Suspicion is about where the woman's fears are. You see? And fear, when left unhealed, becomes imagination. Imagination becomes insecurity. Insecurity becomes accusation. So, and accusation becomes a habit, a reflex, and a lens through which everything is interpreted. A man says, I'm in a meeting. You see? But a fear is, I am with someone else. You see? A man says, I'm driving. But your insecurity is, I'm avoiding you. You see? A man says, I am working late. But your past trauma whispers, he is lying. This is the tragedy of it. She is not reacting to his behavior. You see? She is reacting to her wounds. Sometimes it is a past betrayal from a previous partner. A childhood abandonment wound. A friend's horror story. They listen to their friends' horror stories. A culture that tells women men are always up to something. You see? Or her own internal fears of not being enough. Some people have inferiority complex. They just feel they are not enough. So he must be with someone else who is better than me. You understand? So she policies, like policing him, not because he is unfaithful, but because she is unhealed. She interrogates him, not because he is suspicious, but because she is afraid. You see? She monitors him, not because he is guilty, but because she is insecure. And the tragedy is this, doctor. A faithful man ends up paying the emotional debt of ghosts he never met. He becomes the defendant in a trial where the evidence is someone else's history. He becomes a suspect in a crime he never committed. He becomes the villain in a story written long before he arrived. This is how suspicion grows. Not from his actions, I forget, but from her anxieties. Not from his behavior, but from her inner battles. And unless those wounds are healed, even an angel will look suspicious at you.
Thank you, Professor. What does it do to a man emotionally when every delay in answering a call is treated as evidence of wrongdoing?
Thank you, Doctor. So, when every delayed call is treated as evidence of wrongdoing, something inside the man begins to fracture. Not loudly, you see, not dramatically, but quietly, like a hairline crack in glass that spreads with every accusation. So at first he thinks, it's just irritation. Then it becomes confusion, then exhaustion, then emotional erosion. Because what is really being said to him is this: your word is not enough. Your character is not enough. Your consistency is not enough. You are not enough. So every missed call becomes a trap. Every delayed response becomes a charge sheet. Every explanation becomes a defense statement. And slowly, advocate, a man begins to live in anticipatory guilty. Guilty until proven innocent, or innocent but never believed. So emotionally, it does three devastating things. Number one, it kills his sense of safety. So a man cannot love freely in a place where he is constantly suspected. He becomes guarded, measured, careful, not because he is hiding something, but because he is tired of being misjudged. Secondly, it destroys his emotional confidence. He starts doubting himself. Maybe I should have answered faster. Maybe I should have explained more. Or maybe I should have predicted a reaction. He becomes a man who apologizes for existing in real time. And thirdly, it suffocates intimacy. Is it? So suspicion turns affection into interrogation. It turns partnership into what? Policing. It turns love into surveillance. And a man who is constantly monitored eventually stops showing his heart. Because he knows whatever he says will be cross-examined. And whatever he does will be misinterpreted. So this is the tragedy. He is faithful, but treated like a liar. He is committed, but treated like a risk. He is present, but treated like a threat. So, and over time, he stops trying to be understood and starts trying simply to avoid conflict. You see? That is how suspicion breaks a man, not with the hammer, but with 1,000 tiny taps on the same spot until the soul finally gives away.
Thank you, Professor. How does obsessive calling, texting, checking in turn love into surveillance?
Thank you, Advocate. So obsessive calling, relentless texting, constant check-ins, these things do not feel like love to a man, you see. You know, they feel like tracking system disguised as affection, you see. So at first he thinks, it is care. Then he realizes it is control. Then he understands it is fear wearing the mask of love. Because love says, I trust you. Surveillance says, I'm watching you. And when a woman calls 10 times in an hour, hey, I see them when we're in the workshop there. You can't even use the word division. You must someone is calling and calling and calling. So when a woman calls 10 times an hour, when she demands instant replies, when she treats every silence as a crime scene, she is not nurturing connection. She is tightening the leash. Slowly, the home becomes a command center. The phone becomes an ankle monitor. The marriage becomes a patrol route. And the man becomes a suspect in his own life. Obsessive monitoring does three things to him, I forget. One, it replaces freedom with fear. So he stops living naturally. He starts living cautiously. He calculates every movement, every pause, every delay. Not because he is hiding anything, but because he is tired of being interrogated. Then secondly, it replaces intimacy with anxiety. So he no longer feels chosen. He feels checked on. He no longer feels loved. He feels audited. Is it? Love cannot breathe in a space where every moment must be accounted for. You understand? Then thirdly, it replaces partnership with policing. So a man cannot be both a husband and a suspect. He cannot be both a lover and a monitored object. And he cannot be both trusted and tracked. You can't trust me and then track me, you see? And the tragedy is this, I forget. Surveillance does not prevent betrayal. It only guarantees resentment. You see? So a man who is constantly watched does not feel safe. He feels haunted. He does not feel valued. He feels doubted. He does not feel loved. He feels controlled. That is how obsessive calling turns love into surveillance. Not with violence, not with shouting, but with the quiet, relentless message: I do not trust you to be free. And no heart can thrive under that kind of captivity.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to a song called Breathe Again.
I've walked through fire, I've felt the strain, the weight of silence, the ache of pain. But in the stillness I hear your name, calling me to rise again. Breathe again, Spirit of grace. Fill this place with holy flame. Let every burden melt away. In your mercy, I breathe again. You
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. Why do some women interpret a missed call or a blue tick as disrespect rather than normal life happening?
Thank you, Advocate. So some women interpret a missed call or a blue tick as disrespect because in their emotional universe, silence is not neutral. Silence is loaded. It is not life happening. It is something is wrong. It is someone is replacing me. It is I am being ignored. To understand this reaction, we must understand the psychology beneath it, Advocate. For many women, communication is not just a tool. You see? It is reassurance. It is connection. It is emotional oxygen. So when a message is not answered instantly, the mind does not say, he is busy. You see? It says, I am not a priority. A blue tick becomes a bruise. A missed call becomes a wound. A delay becomes a story. A story written by fear, not by fact. Because beneath the anger is often fear of abandonment, fear of being replaced, fear of not being enough, fear shaped by past betrayal, fear amplified by social narrative that say men are always up to something. You see? So she interprets normal life, meetings, driving, working as disrespect, not because he is disrespectful, but because her insecurities are louder than his reality. And here's the tragedy, Advocate. A man's silence is often circumstantial. A woman's interpretation is often emotional. You see? He is simply in traffic. You understand? She is imagining betrayal. He is in a meeting. She is imagining neglect. He is focused on work. She is imagining disinterest. I think he is not into me anymore. Not because she wants to accuse him, but because she wants to feel safe. You understand? That's the psychology. And she has not yet learned that safety cannot be demanded. It must be built, Advocate. This is why a blue tick becomes a battlefield, not because of disrespect, but because of unhealed wounds, unspoken fears, and unmet emotional needs. And until those are addressed, even the most innocent silence will sound like a thunder.
Thank you, Professor. What happens when a wife treats her husband like a suspect instead of a partner?
Thank you, Advocate. When a wife treats her husband like a suspect instead of a partner, something sacred in the marriage begins to decay. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, like a house whose foundation is quietly rotting beneath polished floors. So, a man enters marriage hoping to be trusted, respected, and believed. But when he is treated like a suspect, he becomes something else entirely. So, he becomes a man who must defend his innocence instead of share his heart. So, a suspect is watched, a partner is welcomed. Okay? A suspect is interrogated, a partner is understood. A suspect is doubted, a partner is trusted. And when a man is placed in the role of suspect, three emotional fractures begin to form. Firstly, he stops feeling safe in his own home. So, a home should be a sanctuary, a place where a man excels, where he removes the armor he wears in the world. But when he is treated like a suspect, the home becomes the courtroom and his wife becomes the prosecutor. So he walks on eggshells. He edits his words. He rehearses explanations. He anticipates accusations. He is no longer living. He is avoiding charges. So, secondly, he stops sharing his inner world. You see? So, a man cannot open his heart to someone who is waiting to catch him in a lie. You see? So, he retreats. He becomes quiet. He becomes distant. Not because he is hiding something, but because he is tired of being misunderstood. So suspicion does not make a man honest. You see? It makes him silent. Then thirdly, he stops feeling like a husband and starts feeling like a liability. So when a wife treats a husband like a suspect, she unknowingly tells him, I'm using the word unknowingly, because sometimes the women don't know. Your integrity is questionable. Your loyalty is fragile. Your character is unproven. So, and a man who is constantly doubted eventually stops trying to prove himself. He becomes emotionally numb. He becomes spiritually tired. He becomes relationally absent. Because no man can thrive in a marriage where he is studied more than he is loved. So the tragedy is this, advocate. Most men do not leave immediately. They stay, they enjoy, they hope, they try harder. But inside, something is dying. The joy, the home, the partnership, the sense of being chosen rather than monitored. You see? So a marriage cannot survive when one partner is treated like a threat. Suspicion does not protect love, it strangles it. And a man treated like a suspect eventually becomes a stranger in his own home.
Thank you, Professor. How does emotional interrogation, why didn't you answer? Why did you take long? Who were you talking to? Affect a man's mental health?
Thank you, Alfred. So emotional interrogation is not a conversation, is it? It is not curiosity. It is not care. In your law language, it is cross-examination. And when a man is cross-examined daily in his own home, something in him begins to collapse quietly, like a bridge losing bolts one by one. So when a man hears, why didn't you answer? Why did you take long? Who were you talking to? He is not hearing questions, is it? He is hearing accusations dressed as concern. And this constant interrogation does three devastating things to his mental health. One, it creates chronic anxiety, the fear of being misunderstood. So a man begins to live in a state of what? Of alertness, not because he is guilty, but because he is tired of being presumed guilty. He becomes hyper aware of his phone, hyper aware of time, hyper aware of reactions. He is no longer living, he is managing his suspicions. You see, this is emotional exhaustion disguised as vigilance. Then, secondly, it destroys his self-worth, the sense that his integrity means nothing. So every interrogation whispers your character is questionable, your honesty is fragile, your loyalty is unproven. And a man who is constantly doubted begins to doubt himself. Maybe I should have answered faster. Maybe I should have explained more. maybe I am the problem. He internalizes blame for crimes he never committed. This is how self-esteem erodes not through insults actually, but through persistent disbelief. And thirdly, it triggers emotional withdrawal mentally, the silent shutdown. So a man cannot open his heart to someone who treats him like a suspect, you see. So he retreats, he becomes quiet, he becomes distant. Not because he is hiding something, but because he is protecting what is left of himself. So interrogation does not create honesty. It creates emotional shutdown. It does not build connection. It builds walls. It does not strengthen love. It strangles it. The truth is simple and tragic. A man who is interrogated daily begins to feel like a criminal in his own marriage. He begins to feel unsafe in the one place meant to be his refuge. He begins to feel unseen, unheard, and untrusted. And when a man loses peace in his own home, he loses peace everywhere. Because the world may wound him, but the home is where he is supposed to what? To heal. When even the place becomes a courtroom, his mental health pays the price quietly, slowly, and devastatingly.
Thank you, Professor. How can couples rebuild trust when insecurity has taken over their marriage?
Thank you, Advocate. So, rebuilding trust after insecurity takes over a marriage is not a weekend project, is it? Not one talk, not one apology. It is a slow resurrection, you see, building what fear and suspicion destroyed. But it can be rebuilt and often becomes stronger than before. So number one, both must admit the truth. Insecurity has become the third person in the marriage. You cannot heal what you refuse to name, you see. They must acknowledge we have been operating from fear. Suspicion replaced communication. We are hating each other. Honest is the first break. Then secondly, the accusing partner must own their wounds, you see. So insecurity rarely comes from the partner alone. So it comes from past betrayal, childhood wounds, low self-esteem, fear of loss. They must say, this fear is mine. I must heal it. Healing insecurity is self-work. You see? Thirdly, the accused partner must rebuild safety through consistency. Not speeches, not perfection, consistency. Predictable behavior, transparency, steady communication, reliability. Consistency is the antidote to fear. Then fourth, replace interrogation with communication. You see? Interrogation says, prove you are innocent. Communication says, help me understand. You understand? Talk without attacking. Listen without defending. Express without accusing. Then fifth, create new rules that protect peace, not control. Update each other. Don't monitor. You see? In our home, we do that. I will go to Manzini and do this. I will go to Channel S and do this. I will go this and do this. I will go. So everyone knows what the other one is doing. So you update each other. Communicate delays. Isn't it? We do it in our home. If I'm late at home by 8 o'clock, you guys call me. Did I okay? You see? So communicate delays. So if I know I'm gonna delay, because I know by 8 they will call me, I say, do you understand? Without you communicate delays without fear. So assume good intentions, unless proven otherwise. You see, pause before reacting. These rules create safety. So it's not things that cannot be done, because I'm saying things that we do ourselves. 6, build emotional intimacy slowly. Trust returns through the heart, not the mind. Quality time, affection, friendship, humanity, remembering why you chose each other. 7, forgiveness must be real, not conditional, not weaponized, not dragged into every argument. Forgiveness is the door through which trust re-enters. And 8, patience must become the real. Trust returns in layers, slowly, steadily, with commitment to the process. So a marriage destroyed by insecurity is not dead. It is wounded. And wounded things heal when both partners choose humility, honesty, consistency, emotional maturity, and love deeper than fear. When trust is rebuilt together, the couple doesn't return to what they were. They become something stronger.
Wow, this is amazing. Let's take a commercial break and stay tuned.
At Springfield Research University, we don't teach to pass exams, we encode futures. Grounded in Education 6.0 and powered by STEMA, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine, and automation, we deliver modular, sovereign learning across undergraduate, master's, and doctoral programs. Explore our prospectus, where every curriculum is designed to stematize every discipline, dignify local authorship, and credential transformative knowledge. Be stematized, be sovereign. Here, knowledge is authored, not borrowed. Curriculum is credentialed, not copied. Every graduate becomes an architect of transformation. With 2 annual intakes, March and September, the path to innovation is always open. From the logic of automation to the soul of indigenous intelligence, SRU is where tomorrow is designed. Springfield isn't just a university, it's an epicenter of epistemic dignity. Join the movement. Study where learning governs itself. Springfield Research University, the globe is here. Where are you?
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. What does a balanced, respectful, emotionally healthy marriage look like? And how do we get there as a society?
Thank you, Advocate. So a balanced, a respectful, emotionally healthy marriage is not luck. It is 2 people choosing maturity over ego, communication over assumption, and partnership over power. Health marriages aren't perfect. They are intentional. What a health marriage looks like, that's number 1, a home where both partners feel safe. No fear of being misunderstood, no interrogation, no punishment for being human. Safety is the soil where love grows. Secondly, trust is the default, not suspicion. Trust is the foundation. Accountability is the maintenance. So both assume good intentions unless real evidence says otherwise. And third, communication is gentle, honest, and respectful. No shouting, no sarcasm, no emotional ambushes. Just clarity, humility, and maturity. And fourth, both feel valued, not monitored. A husband is not a suspect. A wife is not a burden. Both feel seen, heard, and appreciated. Fifth, peace is protected like a sacred inheritance. No unnecessary conflict, no emotional explosions, no weaponizing insecurities. Peace becomes the culture.
How do we get there as a society?
Thank you, Advocate. Number one, we teach emotional intelligence as a life skill, self-regulation, conflict resolution, communication, trauma awareness, emotional accountability. A society that can't regulate emotions can't build stable homes. Secondly, we stop romanticizing insecurity. Jealousy is not love. Surveillance is not care. Interrogation is not passion. Healthy love is calm, not chaotic. Thirdly, model health, masculinity, and femininity. Strength includes vulnerability. Power includes emotional stability. Balanced people create balanced marriages. And fourth, we heal generational wounds. Many couples aren't fighting each other, they are fighting ghosts. Poko. Healing is the foundation of health love. And fifth, celebrate marriages built on respect, not control. Stop praising toxicity and manipulation. Uplift couples who choose peace over chaos. And the truth, Advocate, health marriages aren't built by perfect people, but by healed, self-aware, emotionally disciplined people who choose love over fear. When a society values emotional maturity, its marriages strengthen, its homes stabilize, its children thrive, and its future brightens. A balanced marriage is not a dream. It is a daily decision, Advocate, made together with intention.
Thank you, Professor. As we close, what would you say to wives who genuinely want to build peaceful, trusting, and emotionally healthy homes? What does it look like for a woman to become the healer, the anchor, and the safe space for a husband to come home to?
Thank you, Doctor. When we speak about building peaceful homes, we are not speaking about perfection. We are speaking about intention. We are speaking about the daily choice to create an environment where love is not suffocated by suspicion, where partnership is not replaced by policing, and where a man does not feel like a prisoner in the very home he works so hard to sustain. To the wives watching tonight, you carry an extraordinary power, the power to set emotional temperature of your home. A woman can turn a house into a sanctuary, or she can turn it into a battlefield. She can be the calm that steadies your husband, or the storm that breaks him. And many times it is not the big things that destroy a marriage. It is the small, constant cuts of mistrust, interrogation, jealousy, and unnecessary conflict. A man who is working, who is striving, who is faithful, who is building, that man deserves peace when he walks through the door. He deserves a partner who believes in him, not one who monitors him. He deserves a wife who asks, "How was your day?" Not, "Where were you?" He deserves a woman who understands that a missed call is not a betrayal, that a delayed response is not disrespect, and that work is not an excuse. It is the very reason the family survives. A wife becomes a healer when she chooses trust over suspicion. She becomes an anchor when she chooses patience over panic. She becomes a safe space when she chooses conversation over confrontation. And let me say this with clarity. A peaceful woman is not a weak woman. A trusting woman is not a naive woman. A supportive woman is not a foolish woman. She is a wise woman, a builder, a woman who understands that harmony is not accidental, it is cultivated. Tonight, I want every wife to reflect on one question. Am I creating a home my husband is eager to return to, or a home he is afraid to enter? If the answer troubles, that is not condemnation. It is an invitation to heal, an invitation to grow, an invitation to rebuild the emotional architecture of your home. Because when a woman chooses peace, the whole house breathes. When a woman chooses trust, the marriage strengthens. When a woman chooses emotional maturity, the children flourish. And when a woman chooses love over insecurity, the man becomes the best version of himself. Homes are not built by bricks. Homes are built by behavior. And tonight, I call every wife to rise into her highest role, not as a warden, not as a judge, not as an interrogator, but as a partner, a healer, a counselor, a source of warmth, and a keeper of peace. That is how we build strong men. That is how we build strong families. And that is how we build a strong nation. Thank you, Advocate Doctor, for having me.
Thank you, President, for exposing a truth society often ignores, that some men live in emotional captivity within their own homes. Your insistence on dignity, balance, and constitutional peace in the family reminds us that the home is not a private battlefield, it is a civic infrastructure. To our audience, if you are ready to restore harmony, rebuild trust, and create homes where dignity is protected rather than violated, Springfield Research University awaits you. Visit www.springfieldresearchuniversity.net and join the mission to structure life and leadership with sovereign wisdom. That brings us to the end of this diagnostic edition of Springfield Career Insights. May tonight's reflections provoke foresight, emotional maturity, and sovereign resilience. I am Clarence, your host. Good night.
Siyakupuga tikitile futsanza lunga kiwa hey 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 siyakupuga sonke siyavumelana ngemjululo muhle sonke similela.